Hi, it's Roger here with the Q&A video for Genius Entrepreneur Mastermind. It's the October video, which is on the September questions. So it means there is another one coming with the October questions as well. But this one is a quick one because we had fewer questions than normal in September, lots in October. And I am going to be running through these organized, for those who are new, by the different levels, right? So I'm going to go, I've organized all the questions based on each one, so I'm going to go through them. And thank you everyone who put your questions down. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to kind of start from red and move my way up and then finish some general questions as well. My first question here is from Callum. Callum says, howdy Roger, this is Callum Armstrong. Firstly, I would like to express my deepest appreciation for your 8 morning questions. They are on my YouTube video if you haven't seen those. I have been getting into a habit of climbing Mount Maganui every morning before work and answering these 8 questions. It's amazing how much a simple exercise like that can affect your mindset totally and your flow and effectiveness during the day. Most people don't know what they want, and by clarifying this every morning, it creates the impetus to move in the right direction every day. Being a recovering workaholic, I'm moving from working 80-hour weeks to having a life and working 40 to 50 hours max. So far, so good. We've been making the most of the skills. So it's great. So do you have any advice, tools, recommendations for getting more done every day without working harder? And the answer is yes. Continue on with those videos because there is one which is all about how to organize your week. And that one is about how someone like Richard Branson can have 300 businesses and isn't actually any busier. In fact, is less busy than most people because he's always associating time with team. So whenever he says, I don't have enough time, he's really saying, I don't have enough team who I need to have in that place. And then actually saying, okay, what's a way, not I can't afford that person, but what's a way to afford that person? What's a way for me to actually get them involved in a promotion plan that's going to make money, they're going to make money, I'm going to make money, and that way I can afford them, or that I can trade my time with their time, my expertise with their expertise, so you actually get the things that take you long times to do and you frankly shouldn't be doing off your plate and onto the plate of those people who could do it much better, 10 times better in a tenth of the time, right? That's the key number one thing to do, is constantly be thinking about your business as a time machine where you're constantly turning your time into team. And then of course, you're gonna end up being able to do an awful lot more with an awful lot less time. Going to come over to a few orange level questions we have here. The first one is, and by the way, the reason I said it's a red level question is the second step of red after measuring your money is commit to conduct, right? Commit to conduct is committing to the rhythm of your time and how you organize your time. Because whereas we don't all have the same amount of money, we all have the same 24 drops of time, 24 hours of time every single day, right? And it's about how you convert that, which is the difference of those who end up wealthy, because they're actually converting it more effectively compared to those who don't, right? Okay, let's come over to the orange questions. We have here Robbie Benter. Hi, Roger. Thanks for your answer last month. I've signed up to become a flow consultant and have my first 7 clients on board. So this is awesome. This is all about connecting to the flow, which is why this is orange level, which is great. I have considered various role models as you suggested. The primary driver for me is transformational, both in terms of spirituality and wealth. Firstly, how important is it to define a primary area of focus or expertise? 100% it is super, super, super important, right? Like it's like the most important thing. And it's not even just about what your expertise is, it's about what's the problem you're going to solve for your client in a specific way. Because you can actually partner with other people that have that expertise. You know, if you say, right, I'm going to be really focused at being able to help people who happen to live in Singapore, who are looking to get their business started, well, you don't have to be the expert at doing that. You can just focus at being the expert at delivering the solution on that. And then you can go and actually interview the people that already know how to do this. You can collect the books that are the best at doing this. People will come to you for the problem you solve, not for the product that you sell, right? So you can always be focusing at that problem. So firstly, how important is that? The answer is yes. Would you suggest targeting entrepreneurs within my spiritual community or targeting people in the entrepreneurial community who also value spirituality? This will help me to decide what my primary role model will be. Secondly, can you give me any tips around how to approach someone to offer help and advice, assistance to be part of their team? Any examples of conversations you've had of nature would be very helpful. Well, first of all, it's great that you've already got your 7 clients coming on board. Secondly, this is 100% about having conversations with people where the conversation is about how to be of value. So I'll give you one example. Lance Box, he's one of the Chris Circle members, one of the GEM members. When he joined, and I don't know exactly how old Lance is, he told me, I think it's like 70, 80 years old, something like that, right? And he's like, this is my last chance. I've gone through my whole life trying to figure out how to make money, how to make things happen. Like I'm coming in, I'm going all in because I really believe you're going to be able to help somehow, right? And the first thing that he realized was that he kept on trying to start things on his own instead of going to where the flow was. So we started with saying, okay, what's your bigger purpose? And for him, it was education. I'm like, okay, if it's education, what's your passion? It's like, well, I love just kind of connecting people together. I'm a deal maker. Great, let's take your passion, let's take your purpose and connect you to others that already are doing this, right? So we actually connected him up with our junior school. And straight away with junior school, he had like connections in with some of the key people there in Australia that were part of the junior school. One thing led to another straight away where he says, look, I could be of value to you guys. You're actually trying to actually get, some programs together. I can connect with people in Darwin because he lives in Darwin, right? Like how do I actually make sure that I can, really say the right thing the right way? You tell me what I need to say. He went out there, he got them connected. He's now actually earning money out of it. He said he's actually, we just had a conversation last week. He went from like 0 to like 2,000 to now 4,000. He's now going up to 8,000 a month, right? Like by just going out and he says the most incredible thing is just by having gone out there and actually saying, well, what is it you need? What's your biggest challenge that you have? How can I be of value to you to help you to get to where you want to get to? Nothing about him selling any product, just him serving them to solve their problem. Then by basically them saying, wow, you actually really wanted to help us out. That whole thing of that, like focusing and being together with others already in flow has actually like now given him so many opportunities because, geez, people are calling out of nowhere saying, hey, I hear you're helping such and such. Can you help me as well? And so that's where people, the moment they see that you want to basically be of value, they'll reach out to you. Whereas if you're not actually out there earnestly being of value because you're so busy trying to sell your product or coming up with your own ideas, that's when people go, oh, they're obviously busy, we'll leave them to themselves. And then you're constantly having to do it for yourself, right? So that would be an example, many more like that, but all exactly the same, where you're not basically there trying to tell people what you do or why they should need you. You're asking them what they're doing and why or what they're looking for their future that you could be of value to, you could be of service for. And then you find a way to be of value in a way that's not costing them money or time to begin with. But then as a result of them seeing your results, they build trust. And from that trust, they're going, wow, you just made me some money. You just helped me out. Like, I want to help you out more. Can you do more for me? And then from there, there's always a way you can take a cut and make money out of that as well, right? Super important. Okay, next we have here Opa Gang, who says, hi, Roger, thanks for the wonderful opportunity. I desire to touch others with my books and online training using the multi-level marketing model. I previously purchased software and hired the MLM systems that were not satisfactory, nor able to meet the needs of the community. We desire to build. What will be your recommendations regarding the best MLM system that can ideally be owned, not hired for a teacher or training institute? Our products are mainly books and webinars. Looking forward to your guidance. Okay, so first things first. Network marketing is a leverage mechanism. It's the same as saying, I'm going to make my money from stock market trading, or I'm going to make my money from property investing, or I'm going to make my money by having a retail chain, right? Like these are all leverage mechanisms where they will all help you to grow whatever your value is, but it has to start with you being of value yourself, right? You actually saying, right, this is the thing that's most of value. So I wouldn't get all complicated about some crazy big system. Like there's lots of people that are very successful in network marketing. There's a lot of people who aren't successful, exactly the same as in stock market trading or in property investing or anything else as well. So it's not about the mechanism you choose. It's about how you create value, and then whatever mechanism makes most sense for you, you then can follow that mechanism. So for example, if you're basically wanting to join a network marketing company, it starts with you actually making sure that you know what your profile is. We have something called Network Dynamics, which is actually used by a whole bunch of different network marketing companies. So if you have more, you want to know about that, you can ask me. But it sounds like to me like your big question here is more like, what's the system you can plug into? And the answer is, to begin with, don't go crazy with some big complicated system. Start with something simple like an affiliate system. You can download Post Affiliate Pro, which is super easy to use. You can actually just start by saying, like, I can just have 2 levels to begin with, where if you want to go out and actually recommend our stuff, here's how much I'll be paying you. If you want to bring someone else on board, then you can be a master affiliate and they can be an affiliate underneath you. And just keep it super simple like that to begin with. Once you have people out there making money doing that, then you can get more complex. And it isn't like you can just get an off-the-shelf network marketing system that's going to work for you. You're going to design one that's going to be right for you and your business. But don't do that until you at least have got revenues that are coming in from a network, and then you're evolving it basically with them to then basically grow into something more. And that's the most important thing in all of this. Don't ever get distracted by the leverage mechanism or even the value mechanism until you've gone to level 1 business with 1 customer, level 2 business with 10 customers, level 3 business with 100 customers. Once that's working, then you can actually go and get more complex, right? So now's not the time to get too complicated any more than someone learning to fly doesn't start by basically flying a 737 or 7 or 747. They start by flying a Cessna, getting it up in the air, learning how to fly, and then graduating only when they've got enough passengers to come onto a big plane to learn how to fly a big plane, right? Okay, we've got here Anna Choi, who says, this is yellow level questions now. When is the right time to need a company name that isn't tied to me? Right now, my company name is Anna Choi, Anna Sun Choi, which was intentional in case I evolved, didn't want to have to keep switching company names. Do I need to brand under a company name? conscious business coaching, for example, or not worry about that until I have at least 100 customers. I've got 35 new customers in 2019, so it's kind of moving in that direction. There's another question here which links to this, which is from Christy Kale, who says, "Hi Roger, here goes my first question to you on this platform, and it's about branding. I'm a life coach offering one-to-one groups and online coaching to South African and international clients around creating the dream for the life they would like to live, and bridging the gap between their current life and their dream life. So I work under my own company name, so almost exactly the same, but now talking about a particular name, Life Odyssey International. I want to ask if one should prioritize personal branding or company branding if they're not one and the same. Also, what should my branding emphasize to be on a transformational life coach, and how should I prioritize my brand to-do list? If you do have the time, I would appreciate any critique on my website. I know that I'll be one of the items included on that list. Thank you. All right, so this is what I'm going to say for both of you and anyone else in the same situation as well. There is an order to this. So first of all, know that there is a triangle. There's a triangle of brands. There's the personal brand, which is how much people are attracted to you personally. So like Richard Branson has a personal brand. Someone like Gary Vaynerchuk, who actually does marketing for like online, has a personal brand. Tony Robbins has a personal brand. I have a personal brand, right? When each of us has a personal brand and people get attracted to us, and our personal brand will never change. I mean, it'll evolve, it'll grow, but we'll change companies and products much more than personal brand. So you want to make sure you hold on to your personal brand, and as much as possible, unless you happen to be a superstar profile, don't make your company brand your personal brand, or else you're constantly connected to it, right? And then that's not a good idea. Like I've got a friend, John Hardy, who's here in Bali. John, he set up John Hardy Jewelry. He sold the company, and part of the issue of him selling the company is he can't use his own personal name anymore, which is crazy, right? But that's what happens when actually your branding is part of your company. So don't make your company name your personal name. Secondly, you have your product names, right? Like your product names are going to be your names of the products that you actually are. Customers are never going to buy you, right? Personally, they're not going to be buying. I mean, they might come to you. You might be shining a light on the things that you have as products, but what they're going to be buying is the product itself, right? And then there's a company brand. So someone like Oprah would have a product brand like the Oprah Winfrey Show. She would have a company brand, which is Harpo. Harpo is Oprah backwards, and Harpo basically is where she actually is able. I mean, she doesn't even like tell people about Harpo. And so what's really important about this is too many people start with their company brand. The first place you need to start is your personal brand. So the place to go, like you said, what's the step-by-step? Go to the micro degree, which is a yellow level micro degree. Take that, right, on Genius U, because it will actually take you through 3 steps. Number 1, identify your identity, which is about your personal brand. Number 2, master market, which is clearly about your customer. Number 3 is monetize your moment, which is all about how do you now take the North Pole, which is yourself, the South Pole, which is the customer, got a magnet, and then electromagnetism, turn on the flow, and then that's how money starts to flow, right? It's about you getting super clear. Is everything I'm doing growing my personal brand? Is it helping the customer as well? Is it doing what I love? But you're not going to get paid for doing what you love. You're going to get paid for doing what the customer loves. So knowing, okay, am I doing something that I love, so I get motivated by it? But if I design the product in such a way that the customer loves it, in such a way that I'm actually making money out of it, right? And that's where the product comes in. Almost always, like if we go back to what we just said earlier with the whole idea of Robbie becoming a flow consultant, it's like you don't have to create your own personal brand, your own company brand. He's building his own personal brand, but then he's actually linking the company brand. Lance, I mentioned Lance as another example. He's building his personal brand as someone who's being of value to people in the education space, but then the company brand he's using as Genius School, right? And the product brand he's using is the Genius Camp that he's actually running in Darwin, right? So knowing that your whole focus needs to be, number 1, do I have a personal brand where I'm clear? Number 2, do I have a product brand that I'm actually out there promoting? And then number 3, is there a company brand that actually can outgrow? The company brand becomes more important when you've got a stream of products like Apple, for example, or Microsoft. It becomes even more important when it comes to your stream of talent or staff members who are actually wanting to come and work with you, right? But don't worry about the company brand too much until you have at least 100 customers, right? It's not that important. And then you should be focusing on it more. Right? So first of all, personal brand. Secondly, get that first product brand going. Make sure it's something super credible. And know that each one of these should have their own websites. You have your personal website, which is all about conversation. You have your product websites, which is all about conversion. So every promotion plan you do should have a product website. Whenever we do a promotion plan on an event or on a new online product, it will have its own landing page that people will come to. And it's all about conversion, where people are actually making a decision about that without getting confused about everything else. And then the third thing is your company brand, which is all about credibility, right? Which you don't need until later. And when you do have it eventually, it will then link it will link to your personal brand, and it will link to all of your product brands. And people can then come and find all of it, like a shopping basket or like a pathway. But the most important thing to begin with is to really, and that's when you get like level 4 business, 1,000 or above, Until then, just focus at the first two and personal first. Okay, so let's come over next to Marta. Marta says, hello, Roger. I'm thrilled to be here and thank you for creating this amazing community. My question for you is, what's the best resource to learn how to create a great, accurate, and meaningful quiz or assessment similar to what you created? I want to create one on the topic of self-awareness and would love some direction and guidance on that. Thank you. Yes, I did see your interview with Ryan yesterday. Amazing timing. So I'm wondering what you used to create your amazing assessments. Okay, so first of all, we create all our assessments ourselves. So we basically go through, map it out. What do you want the assessment to do? We've used basic things like, WordPress to actually then take people through a pathway from one page to the next page, but we've designed it all out and just like click to the next page. Just using basic HTML, you can actually do that provided you design it out for yourself. Now, if you want a way to actually have a more of a do it for you approach where you've actually got the best systems, then SurveyMonkey is the best to use because SurveyMonkey allows you to actually immediately create quizzes, plug them straight into Facebook or into any other social media platform, have different types of questionnaires. They kind of go through all of that. So SurveyMonkey would be the best place to go. And definitely go check out Ryan's stuff, right? Because he actually explains it. If you want to know the strategy and the ways to think about it, then just get his Ask Method book. And in the book, which is called Ask. And when you read that, you'll see that there's a real science behind all of this as well. So that's what I would say. But the most important thing isn't even like the design of it, the system you're using. It's more, are you thinking through what someone's going through to actually ensure that they're actually getting that result? And we do that with all of the assessments that we run. We make sure they're super clean, they're super simple. And you're going to see that we have something called Entrepreneur Dynamics coming up, where we're actually packaging it all together into a pathway. And that's going to be launching in the next couple of months, which we're very excited by, which links together the wealth spectrum with the wealth dynamics and talent dynamics systems together with our new system, Impact Dynamics, which shows you exactly how to then implement all this as well, right? So super excited about all of that coming up. Okay, let's continue here. We have got here Jasper. Hi, Roger. Something interesting. So there's a few of these that actually came up during the call that I had as well. But these ones here are, I'm going to kind of repeat some of these as well because we can then jump into it a little bit. Hi, Roger. Something interesting happens after the last Q&A. But as it takes a few words to explain, put it under successes. So, but thank you. Our question this time is around converting our LinkedIn CEO community members from all over the world to clients. This has proven harder than anticipated, partly because of the lack of drilling pain that I asked about last time. But there is something else. I know it is about building trust, but these CEOs are difficult to get to interact with content. Some show up to our monthly 30-minute breakfast session, and they always stay to the very end. So something must be value there, but still we don't succeed in converting. What would be your suggestion to increase the trust and conversion amongst these time-constrained CEOs? Then generally fall into categories, fairly new to the game or sustainable business and very experienced. Okay, good. So here's the most important thing, Jasper, and this is really important for everyone who might have any challenge where you go, geez, people really like my stuff, but then they're just not buying from me. The reason this happens is too often what we do is we see someone or we give someone value and someone goes, oh, this is really good value. And then we go, oh, so would you like to do something with me? Or, hey, so like, how about, here's our product. And they're going, no, not interested right now, right? And so they get stuck. The reason this happens is because there's a middle step, right? You can't just take someone from this step to this step. You've got to take a middle step in the middle. Because when someone's giving you their time, right? When they're giving you their time, that's what we call a community member. So someone giving you attention as a follower, someone gives you time as a community member. So by them showing up for a breakfast, someone, like coming to your website, like when they're doing that, what they're really doing is they're actually saying, is this worth my time? And the fact they stay to the end means it's worth their time, right? That doesn't simply mean they jump from that straight to a customer, is it worth my money? Because the next step up is it worth my decision, right? Like, is it worth a decision to do something? And what that requires is a middle step. So and that's what we call a prospect. So the people that all show up at your breakfast, they're not all prospects. They're just community members. They're just coming for the value. So you need to first of all qualify who here is actually a prospect before you then actually have a conversation with them to find out if they should be a customer. And the way to do that is if you've got the breakfast thing, instead of at the end of it saying, hey, so we've got this program, who would like to be part of it? Say, all right, so one thing we're doing off the back of this program is now you can see what's so important about the process we go through. For those of you who really want to make sure you get the most value out of this and really want to make sure that there's things that we can do to help you, that we can work through those processes as well, we're going to be running these 30-minute sessions where we actually come to your office. We'll have you and maybe some of your key people, or maybe it's just for them. We'll have a session with you. We're going to go through a system, a structure that we use that actually allows you to see very quickly, whether or not Like, we can actually increase your effectiveness and this is the kind of results people normally get from that session. So it's a value session. It's not like come and just consider buying from us. It's a value session where you're going to give them real value and saying at the end of it, you'll get a really clear idea of how we work. And if it makes sense, then it could be we do more together after that, right? So you're actually framing the fact that there will be a decision that happens at the end of it as well. You'll be amazed. Like, you'll have half or more of the people who come for the breakfast who goes, I'm in for that. Book them up, schedule a time. Then when you show up for that meeting, they're now a prospect. There's someone who actually said, no, this is worth more than my time. This is worth a decision to do something, right? They haven't decided to do it yet. They've just decided to decide, right? And at that point, you then have the session with them. You give them great value. You tell them, look, if I give you great value, I'll also be able to see by asking these questions whether or not I can be of higher value to you in the future. And if so, I'm going to show what we're doing at the end of it. And they're going to go, yeah, sure. So they know there's a decision to make as well. And once you actually go through it and say, well, what I'm going to share, frame what you're going to share as a piece of what you're actually going to deliver later. We've got a 12-step process over the year. I'm going to go through the first step with you, or the first 2 steps with you, so you can kind of see what we do and how we do it. And more importantly, you'll see the power of this as well. And then at the end of it, we'll talk more about whether or not you want to take more steps. So you're framing it as basically part of something bigger. And then you actually go through the steps, right? And they go, wow, this is really amazing. This has really helped me. It's like, and quantify it. How much was this worth by us going through this? Well, if I did X, Y, Z, that's worth like $50,000 to my business. It's like, right, okay. Well, do you want to know how to do the rest and implement it, put it in place? It's like, yes, I do. It's like, all right, well, I'll tell you how it's going to work. Make it an offer. We're doing this with like 10 customers that we're going to work with. You're like customer number 5 if you decide to come on board. We're going to complete all this in the next 2 weeks, and then we're going to continue. So there's a consequence of missing out. They know there's a decision to make. It's not like I'll think about it and I'll come back later. It's like they're like, hey, like either do this now or I'm not going to do it, right? And so at that point, it's like, so, like you can tell me whether you think you should be one of those people off the back of it. I'll tell you whether I think you should as well. But here's how the whole thing works. And you go through it. Here's the steps. Any questions? No, that makes total sense. Okay, well, first of all, do you think this is a thing that will fit for you? It's like, yes, I think it could. Okay, well then here's what I think. It's like, I think it could fit for you. These are the different things. Give them options. Like this would be one option to what you could do. If you really feel that this is like too high or high cost, there's something which is at a lower level we could do, or something higher. But I recommend this one, and this is why. And if you're up for it, I put you down. I make sure that you've got a place reserved, right? And so then I want to do that, right? And so that's where you actually have the missing piece, is you haven't got that middle step, which is the one where people are actually deciding to decide, right? So make sure you put that in place. That would be, you can do that also online, on phones after a while. We do this at events. We never ever at an event in front of everyone on stage just say, everyone buy this thing. We don't do that. We say, if you're interested in this, stay at the break. If you're interested in this, book up a call, right? And there's always going to be another middle stage where anyone who's not even willing to make a decision, they're not going to book up a call. And we haven't wasted any of their time either, right? Which is like much, much, much better way to do it. Okay, we're going to come to Jan next. Hi, Roger. Just finished iLab with a promo plan. So awesome, Jan. Thanks for your response last month. I optimized everything against being in a team and work with people IRL, which is where I excel. My status is this. So these are the P's. Problem. Entrepreneurs I speak with don't have enough time to exploit opportunities they already have. Promise. I will meet up IRL at an awesome place and do a cash cow sprint to identify the biggest opportunity we can exploit. And then with my team, design and execute a profitable promotion in a proven to work gamified framework. You'll be happy to get all your money back. Product, cash cow sprint, right? So same thing we just heard above. Proof help one of Denmark's most successful entrepreneurs increase revenue by 50% on this cash cow. Got 2 future customers from iLab participants who I am magnifying the solution around. Price $15,000 to $30,000 with happy or money back guarantee. Availability is 17. One of these, one for each of the SDGs. Purpose: partner with B1G1. Got accepted as mentee for Paul Dunn. And now my focus is to partner with a company where I can parachute in from who has these 17 clients. My question is, what am I missing? Okay, well, yeah, first thing you're missing is the promise, right? So the way you say the promise is, which is, I'm going to do this cash cow thing, it's going to be a profitable promotion, we're going to get this kind of thing, money back. That's the product, right? That's the how. But there's still the bigger thing, which is, what is the actual product? What's the actual promise? So as an example, you can say, the problem that most entrepreneurs have is that they're so busy, they don't see the wood from the trees. That they don't see what their number one top opportunity is. Our promise is that we will get you to cut down out of all the noise, the time you spend doing the wrong thing so you can focus at the right thing, and that right thing is going to make you 10 times more with a tenth of the effort, or whatever it happens to be you say. But that's a promise. You haven't told them about the cash cow and all the rest of it. You just said, here's the promise of what we're going to do. And it's like, well, how are we going to do that? Well, we do that by actually being able to specifically find your cash cow, which is the one part of your business, which is the one that's actually able to grow without you. And it's usually not the one that you're thinking about or the one that you're growing. And by growing that, you get your time back. And people get that. It's like, yeah, it's true. A lot of stuff I'm making my money on is stuff that isn't something which actually I can step out of. It's like, it's my own time that I'm selling. The cash cow is not my time. The cash cow is something else which can actually grow without me, right? So people understand that, but that needs to be in the product side, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing, I think it's great, the whole system and the way that you're doing it. I think it's great the way you're actually structuring it to have one of the 17. The second thing you're missing is the fact that there isn't a range of products. You want to have one which is the one you're focusing at. So it's great you've got cash cows you're focusing at, but the fact that it's like $15,000 to $30,000, that's a big range, right? So to actually say, right, you've got something at 15,000. You can have something higher at 30, like productize it, make the 30,000 something which is very clearly a different decision to make with a different value they get, but also make one down at 5,000, 4,000, right? Make something which actually is easier for people to come onto, so that if you actually miss with a high one, they go, I can't afford $15,000 right now. There's still something they can do at a lower level. And in fact, you're going to find a lot more people come and test you out at a low level first, where it's like, hey, $500 a month, I can do that, right? Do it as a mastermind, do it as a group session where people come in and actually then get the experience of what you're doing. Get the stories of the people that are paying the $1,000, $1,500 a month, the $15,000 a year, get their stories to actually be sharing, so they go, wow, I want to be one of those guys. But where they actually can see the results of what you do when you spend more time with them as well. Those would be the two things, right? Promise and pathway. Okay, let's come over to the final couple of questions, right? So, we've got a blue level question, which also came up on our call with Simon Zucci. Wish with Bash Ali. Hi, Roger. These questions are related to property. So best to ask Simon probably for the answer. What's the best practice to transfer existing buy-to-let rental properties owned personally into a limited company? And how do we mitigate the land tax, capital gain tax, and redemption charges? Also, when registering limited companies to hold, rent, sell, and refurbish, which SIC codes should we use? Yeah, so basically go back if you want to hear the answer to that one. Go listen to what Simon said, because he actually explained it all in detail, and also said basically how important it is now with the whole environment around Brexit and so on to be really super careful that you're aware of just how much it isn't just, the British laws that are changing, but like European, like what, and this is I'm just talking about property, I'm talking about all businesses, how much this is actually going to impact all of us right now as well, right? So that's what I would say on that one. And then finally, a couple of general questions, right? So the first general question is from Marie Ruzika. What are these are both about Genius U. What are the demographics of people on Genius U, specifically the highest viewership? Men versus women, age, entrepreneur versus solopreneur, intrapreneur, their location on the globe. Our demographic is pretty much exactly the same on Genius U as it is at our events. So we have about 60% women, about 40% men. We are pretty much evenly now. I mean, it really is quite interesting how we're evenly spaced around the three geographies. You've got the 8 hours of NASA, which is North America, South America. You've got the 8 hours of Europe and Middle East and Africa, which is our EMEA. And then we've got like 8 hours of Asia and North Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, and also Australia and New Zealand, which is APAC. That's our 24 hours. Then we've had a third in terms of how we actually break up geographically. And in terms of actually age group, it's amazing. We've actually spread out the age group, right? It used to be, we were much more around 25 to 45. It's gone all the way up to 60. It's gone all the way down to like 15, right? It really has actually expanded, which I think has a lot to do with just our growth, but also the way the entrepreneur movement has also expanded and more people have come on board. It's very interesting. If you go out and look for data about entrepreneurs, there isn't that much data because the media doesn't really understand what an entrepreneur is. But go start searching on things like the gig economy, right? Gig as in like anyone who's like got a part-time job, someone who's a freelancer. And it's incredible how much data there is out on that. And actually, as it's going right now, the projections are over 50%, like I think it's like 52 or 55% of the entire workforce on the planet is going to have some kind of entrepreneurial activity, more than just a 9-to-5 job, either a second job or being an entrepreneur or being a freelancer within the next 5 years. I mean, that's phenomenal. It's already a third. It's going to be over half, which is phenomenal, right? So basically, we're talking about this massive movement that we are part of right now, something which and that is our customer base, right? So that's what I'll share around that. And then we have a final one down here, which is from Jonathan Magden, who says, "Hi Roger, I don't have a question but a comment. I completed my flow consultant certification a few months ago, full of hope and energy, created a promotion with Michelle's help, and also a micro degree of Genius U, built a funnel. Genius U is a powerful tool. I believe in it and understand we each need to play our part. However, I was just also counting to get some traction directly from Genius U, but after spending quite some time on the platform and being active, I see there's only a tiny percentage of Genius U users actually active and engaged on a daily basis. And I love to make it work for myself. And I imagine other mentors might be having the same problems. So I'd be happy to talk about this and help. So first of all, super awesome that you want to help and support Jonathan. We have got a number of user groups that are going to come up that we're going to work with, which is great. That's number one. Secondly, it's really, really important to get the model of Genius U was modeled off MindBody. MindBody basically is doing the same thing for the entire health and wellness industry. And actually, MindBody is like a close to $2 billion business now, where yes, there's a global community, and we have a global community as well. And be mindful of the fact that within Genius U this year, we're going to do $20 million in revenues on Genius U. So there's a lot of revenues that is going through it. But the vast majority of people who are doing it, it's like Uber. If you basically get a car and you basically get the Uber app, right? And then you basically go onto Uber trying to find other people who actually might want to take your car, and you happen to live in some remote part where there aren't many people, right? Or you happen to have a car which is not as nice as some other people's cars, and you're going and saying, why is no one actually coming to me? Then that's missing the point. Everyone's out there already delivering the science. Like it takes someone like, for example, Lance, who I mentioned earlier, like the fact that Genius School is using Genius U for all the things they're doing, he can connect directly to the right people, say to them, hey, do you need extra help? They're going, yeah, we totally need help. We're running this camp. And they're doing it all on Genius U, but they're doing it offline and online together. All the activity happening offline. You can go to someone like Trey, for example, who's basically in America, and he was organizing our events in Austin, and he just had an event last weekend, and there's over $100,000 being generated that he generated with his team, and it's all on Genius U, but it's all happening offline with the online as well. So this is not about you just getting online and just saying, well, where is everyone? Same with Airbnb, same thing. Like these are online, offline businesses. If you just go to Airbnb and you say, right, I've got my house on Airbnb, now just wait. Right? That's not going to get you there, right? But if you actually say, hey, by me having myself on there, I can actually go out there, start marketing myself. I can actually start using the fact that I'm on there to let people know I'm on there. I can connect with other people who are actually very much in flow with their events, with their programs, see what they're up to, say, hey, do you need help on that as well? And then they're actually showing up and meeting up with people offline as well. So we're not wanting people to come onto Genius U like a Facebook or like an Instagram where everyone's just sitting there doing stuff online. We want people to do stuff offline and then use it as a tool to keep track of each other, to actually see what events are going on, to be able to actually see what circles are taking place. And yes, we want them to go in and do micro degrees once in a while, but the micro degrees will be related to the actual mentoring they do, or they'll be related to the programs are running as well. So it's really, really important, instead of just sitting there or even just looking around and saying, who can come and actually be part of my staff when everyone's out there being active, connect to the people who are actually the ones that are being active and they're already generating the revenues, and then work with them. And you're going to find straight away that there's actually opportunity and there's flow that will then take place for you as well, right? That's the biggest thing that I would say. So with that, I am going to just finish again with a repeat on what I was saying earlier. We have got another video that's going to be coming up for the Q&A, and we also have got some announcements coming up on our entrepreneur dynamics, which I'm super excited by. So you'll be hearing more about that as we go. I am now going to hop on a plane and head over to India, where we are going to be in Nepal, Tibet for our Journey of Lights. So look out on social media because we're going to be posting lots on that as well. Thank you everyone for all of your questions. Post questions in the October one if you would like to ask any questions, and I will catch up with you all on the next video. See you all later. Bye.